A Nigerian Air Force turboprop light attack aircraft taking fire from the ground in Benin Republic in what appears to be an aerial bombardment of revolutionary soldiers holed up in a military barracks in Benin Republic. This happened immediately the failed coup was announced by the soldiers in Benin Republic, and Tinubu bragged about this when he posted on his verified X handle on X. He said, "Earlier today, on my orders, the Nigerian Armed Forces stood gallantly as a defender and protector of constitutional order in the Republic of Benin on the invitation of the government. Our armed forces acted within the ambit of ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. They have helped stabilize a neighboring country and have made us proud of their commitment to sustaining our democratic values and ideals since 1999. Nigeria stands firmly with the government and people of Republic of Benin." The aerial bombardment of a military barracks in Benin Republic by Nigerian Air Force was a unilateral decision of Tinubu. He's saying that they acted based on ECOWAS protocol, but judging by the ECOWAS statement, the first one they released, they focused on condemning the coup plotters. They never made any statement concerning invasion of Benin Republic. And by the time they released another statement, Nigerian Air Force fighter jets were already departing Benin Republic. The second ECOWAS statement was released in the evening. So what really happened? Before we see what happened, let's assume that immediately ECOWAS took the decision to set up a standby force to invade Benin Republic, that Nigerian Air Force fighter jets immediately took off from Lagos, which is the nearest city, to Cotonou and Benin Republic. It still means they never waited for the ECOWAS standby force to assemble before taking off and invading Benin Republic. Even under Abacha in the late 90s, when there was troubles in Sierra Leone, he still waited for the ECOWAS standby force to assemble. They took their time to assemble. He didn't make a unilateral decision ordering Nigerian military to invade Sierra Leone, to dislodge Tijankaba and restore John Koroma. No, he waited for the entire ECOWAS countries to assemble before they invaded. So it still shows that Tinubu took a unilateral action against Nigerian neighbors. He shouldn't have done that. This was exactly the same playbook he wanted to use when there was a coup in Niger, but the Nigerian Senate at the time stopped him. The northern senators resisted, saying that they are their brothers. They will not allow an invasion to cause a crisis in the north. Now that it's happening in the south or the southwest, no one is resisting. In fact, Tinubu didn't even bother to transmit a letter to the Senate so that they can authorize an invasion in a foreign country. He just took the action in a unilateral manner.
Béninoises et Béninois, bonsoir. Je suis le colonel Tigri Pascal. Depuis ce matin, nous avons lancé une opération qui consiste à libérer le peuple béninois de la dictature de Patrice Talon et des libertés qu'il a longtemps arrachées au peuple béninois. Nous vous invitons à un soutien massif de notre action et nous appelons le gouvernement français à ne pas du tout s'initier dans les affaires intérieures de notre très cher pays, la République du Bénin.
Lieutenant Tigri, the leader of the coup, urging citizens to troop out in massive numbers and support the soldiers in what they are doing, that they want to remove the dictator, Talon, like he put it. Maybe this was the video that Talon saw and made him to call out for help. He must have reached out to Emmanuel Macron, who in turn reached out to Tinubu. He also asked Macron not to interfere in their affairs. So you can see the mistake they made. They shouldn't have announced a coup without at least having the country in their firm grip. They were announcing closure of borders as if they control the security forces in the borders, as if they control the security forces at the airports where they would have stopped any politician or even Talon from running away. So these are the errors they made. And if citizens trooped out in massive numbers, it would have been very difficult for anyone to bombard them from the air. Imagine citizens filling up the streets of Cotonou. No fighter jet would have dared to bomb anywhere in Cotonou. But because people were afraid, they were inside their homes, that was why it was possible for them to bombard the military base. Tinubu's unilateral action in Benin Republic raises many questions. So Nigerian military can quickly deploy in this manner. Within seconds, fighter jets are already flying over Benin Republic, hitting military barracks and revolutionary soldiers. While in Nigeria, in their own backyard, Nigerians always call for help, but they never show up. They never deploy quickly to attack the terrorists. They never show that concern. So the Nigerian military are this quick to react to situations, only to foreigners, only when someone orders them to do that, and not Tinubu is making the order. It is Macron that is making the order. He also tweeted around the same hour that he spoke to Tinubu. So it means the order came from him and Tinubu transmitted to the military, and the Air Force had to invade and bombard a neighboring country just because of a military coup. They were not in a serious crisis. As a matter of fact, even if they left them alone, the Benin military would have been able to handle the situation. This is simply because, looking at the events of yesterday, it shows that the revolutionary soldiers were in a hurry to announce the military coup, despite not getting the country under their control. They didn't arrest Talon, and Talon was supposed to travel to Cote d'Ivoire to witness Alassane Ouattara's inauguration. All the errors they made, imagine only taking control of a TV station and they went ahead to announce a military coup. Who does that? If they truly wanted to remove Talon from power, they should have waited just for 24 hours and everything would have been easy for them. They would have faced little resistance. Yes, many soldiers would have simply joined without putting up a fight. But once he's still in the country, they will put up a fight to defend him. That's how it works. He's their commander-in-chief. After looking at the entire event, how it unfolded, you will see that Tinubu took a unilateral decision and invaded a sovereign country. Yes, he said it was at the invitation of Talon, but at the time Talon called for help, he wasn't in control of the entire territory of Benin Republic. At that time, it was completely an internal affair. It continues to be an internal affair of Benin Republic. But a foreign country invaded in the guise that someone who was partially in control begged him to invade and save him. So this is double standards. Remember, when Donald Trump threatened the Nigerian authorities, issued an ultimatum that they should get a hold on insecurity and stop the massacre of Christians, that if they don't do that, the US will be forced to invade Nigeria and do it by themselves. But instead of tackling the insecurity, they started shouting, you have no right to do that, Nigeria is a sovereign country, you can't invade, blah blah blah. But here we are, they have invaded a sovereign country. So why the double standards? They have now indirectly accepted that Donald Trump, United States, or any other superpower that is more powerful than Nigeria can invade Nigeria without any problems. Yes, they have countered their own narrative. Meanwhile, immediately the news of the invasion and bombing of Benin Republic spread online, an American influencer, Jackson Hinkle, replied to one of Tinubu's old tweets, saying, "President Tinubu, why do you bomb revolutionaries in Benin instead of terrorists in Nigeria? Can't wait until you are overthrown by Nigerian patriots." No matter how you feel about the statement, you can't help but agree that Nigerian leaders are intentional in whatever they want to do. Imagine deploying in this manner very fast to go and save a foreigner in another country, while your citizens always cry out. It's a crying shame. You cannot save your own citizens, but you quickly respond to the SOS, the request of a foreigner. How does that make any sense? The money you are using to bombard these people, the bombs you drop, are all paid by Nigerian taxpayers. So you can't use their money to save them, but you use it to save foreigners. The other day, the former CDS was saying that one missile or one rocket costs about 150 million naira. That once you drop it, that 150 million is gone.
A medium-range precision missile for a drone, sir, is $100,000. That is about 150 million naira. So once you fire one, 150 million has gone. Whether you hit target or you don't hit target.
Now, who knows how many bombs they dropped in Benin Republic? That's millions or even billions of naira gone. They spent it in a foreign country instead of spending it in Nigeria, where their own citizens are being massacred. So this is the reality in Nigeria. Why would anyone love the country? Why would anyone genuinely be a patriot when you see injustice, you see double standards, you see leaders being aloof to happenings in their own country? They intentionally do what they do. They intentionally allow terrorists to roam freely and massacre Nigerians. They cannot deploy quickly to contain them, but they can deploy quickly in a foreign land. It does not make any sense. There's nothing they explain to you about Nigeria that you will ever understand. They say charity begins at home, but here, charity begins abroad. They like to show others the love they are supposed to extend to Nigerians. They like to show others that this is how it is done in the right manner, but in their own country, they never do anything right. They never get anything right.